Dark Knight.
Hey everyone, Mr. Happy here, and welcome to my overview on all of the Dark Knight
maybe Scholar
updates coming to Final Fantasy XIV in Dawntrail. I was recently given the opportunity to try the expansion out early at the North American Media Tour, and that of course includes checking out all the job changes. So once you're done with this video, be sure to look at all the other job changes I'll have uploaded. I'll even add a link to a playlist in the description to make it easy. Just a quick disclaimer, Dawntrail is still in development, and so everything you see here is still subject to change. Don't be surprised if things are a bit different come early access. Now, Dark Knight is mostly similar to its Endwalker counterpart with some new changes and updates to potencies and animations. Before level 90, there are actually quite a few significant changes to note for when you first log into the expansion.
Okay.
First off, Plunge is gone, replaced with a damageless gap closer called Shadow Stride. This means you won't be weaving it during burst windows anymore and will instead use it exclusively for its intended purpose.
I'm actually so upset about this because Plunge was so cool and it's such an iconic part of the job. You just, with your big ass sword, you swing it over your head and it's awesome.
This low.
Why would God? It's just like with Dragoon, he got rid of this cool jump.
Where's the busyness of the burst window?
I'm so annoyed, and now everyone has this generic zip forward.
A little bit, though you do get some new tools in order to
Let me see it again. Let me see it again.
And will instead use it exclusively for its intended purpose. This lowers the...
That's so lame. That's so... Why'd you have to get rid of the animation? Why can't you just get rid of the damage if you don't want people weaving it?
Busyness of the burst window a little bit, though you do get some new tools in order to
So yikers.
replace it. Biggest loss, the plunge animation.
Yes!
Hopefully it's still in PvP. Second.
What if they get rid of it in PvP?
And Blood Weapon becomes Delirium at level 68, and the effects are combined into one button. The Blood Weapon part only has 3 stacks now as well, down from 5 in Endwalker. The MP generation is also the same per hit for both the Delirium and Blood Weapon buffs respectively, so that does mean a bit less MP with those 2 less stacks.
Okay.
It also means a bit less blood is going to be generated as well. But in exchange for that, Living Shadow no longer costs blood, so it's now exclusively used for Blood Spiller and Quietus. Living Shadow also got some potency buffs to its level 88 and 99 traits, though what that means in the grand scheme still remains to be seen.
Okay.
After level 90, there are a bunch of standard changes that pretty much happen across all the tanks. The most unique one is Shadow Wall Mastery, which upgrades Shadow Wall into Shadowed Vigil. This upgrades the damage reduction to 40%,
it's like with Sentinel.
And also grants the Vigilant buff, healing the Dark Knight for 1200 potency once they go under half HP, or after 20 seconds, whichever occurs first. The other ones are really standard across all the tanks. There's Enhanced Rampart at level 94, which adds a 15% healing received buff to the skill. Melee Mastery at level 94, which increases the potency of almost every GCD that Dark Knight has, minus Unmend and Unleash. And at level 98, they get Enhanced Reprisal, increasing the duration of the debuff to 15 seconds. For new skills after level 90, it's entirely upgrades to existing skills. At level 96, Dark Knight gets Enhanced Delirium, which upgrades Blood Spiller and Quietus to new skills, Scarlet Delirium and Impalement. Scarlet Delirium is actually a 3-part combo to replace your 3 Deliriumed Blood Spillers. The combo goes Scarlet Delirium into Comeuppance into Tor Cleaver. The potency scales up with each hit as well, starting at 600, going to 700, and finally 800. Impalement, on the other hand, is just a stronger and cooler version of Quietus.
That's cool.
And at level 100, they get Enhanced Living Shadow 3. When you use Living Shadow, you gain the Scorn buff for 30 seconds, changing the Living Shadow button into Disesteem. This is simply an 800 potency line AoE off global with a 50% fall off. Another big damage skill to add into your burst window, one of the things that will be replacing those plunges. Esteem himself will also gain access to the skill, replacing his usual use of Carbon Spit. His version does 620 potency with a 25% fall off. All in all, it should feel like you're playing almost the exact same job. Maybe you'll muscle memory mess up some things like, shadow striding when you would have plunged, for example. The 1200 less MP from the Delirium Blood Weapon combo might also have some effect on edge or floods during burst, but not anything too major. Honestly, I'm just shocked that the only new healing they got was on Shadowed Vigil. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's nice, but it's once every 2 minutes. I was still really pulling for Abyssal Drain to open up a slightly better self-sustain option. Not anything crazy, just slightly better, but not the case. Maybe next expansion? I'm also someone who very much welcomes all the animation upgrades. One of the big things with the tanks for me is that visually it gets kind of boring seeing just that same skill go off 3, 4, 5 times. Like, Warrior is kind of the only job where I was ever okay with it when all the tanks started doing it. It definitely killed my interest a little bit. But even though it's still functionally the same with what's happening with the tanks, you know, things like adding this 3-part combo to Dark Knight for the Blood Spillers, it does help at least a little bit with the visual stimulation.
It's like what happened with Atonement.
And
yeah, I think that's nice.
Anyway, that's going to be a wrap for my thoughts on Dark Knight in Dawntrail. Be sure to like and subscribe and check out all those other videos in the playlist in the description. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Until then, take care.
Yeah, it doesn't seem too different. Only thing different I'd like to see is a healing lifesteal on the new Delirium combo. Or lifesteal being put as an effect of blood weapon, since that fits thematically. Yes, I do agree. I do agree on that. Still no good self-heals like other tanks. 40% mid upgrade getting Scholar XCOG on steroids, but Gunbreaker has it too. So same. Transfer Abyssal Drain heal effect to its line AoE darkness ability. Yeah, to me, I feel like Dark Knight absolutely should have good self-heal, like from drains and leeches, because that fits with the fantasy of the job. That would make sense. It's kind of like blood DK in my mind. It's blood, like blood matter. You pulling blood from the other things to sustain yourself. But that's what that is in fantasy. So I'm surprised there's not more of it for Dark Knight. But maybe it's hard for them to balance. I don't know. I don't know why they seem to be afraid of adding that.